7 to 7, so we will likely not take a step into the Ganon's Tower at any point in time. We're going to try to go as fast as we can, and we are starting.
Yeah, this is only if in the event that if we ever go to GT, it'll probably be at least 2 or 3 swords, probably 3 swords. And our vanilla lamp, one of 3 vanilla lamps.
I mean, what is this? Come on, we randomized this, right?
Yeah, we definitely randomized this. This is just the calm before the storm. And we're actually joined by Chisame. And our map check we got was there's a Desert Palace and Harrow have our 5-6.
That's really interesting to already have our 5-6 both in the Light World. Light World dungeons traditionally have fewer access restrictions than the Dark World, so that's interesting. It might point to something being in that a little bit later into that Pyramid Berry location, but we won't know until we get there. With these early boots, of course, it's going to make going through this escape sequence significantly faster. There's a ton of straightaways that you can just dash through.
Map checks contain a heart piece.
Yeah, lots of. I think that's our second heart piece already. We did start with the sword, so we started with both the sword and the boots in this particular seed. So Uncle did not necessarily have to give us a weapon, and of course he gave us just a heart piece as well. And a heart container in this particular chest. That's this is a very lovely seed so far.
Now, I should also mention about the casual mode as a whole. This is basically just standard, but it's a assured sword. V31 has changed it so that you don't get a assured sword, Uncle assured sword. Instead, you get a sword right out of the gate, and Uncle will have just another item. And Zola still having our Dark Cross key, so we're going to be seeing an item, maybe our map, in the Dark Cross.
Oh, we would absolutely like to not see the map at all, of course, but probably not going to happen. We're narrowing it down, though. It's possible that we could end up with a situation where the map is going to end up being in that sanctuary chest location. We'll see if anyone remembers it. It's still a possibility.
Yeah, but we're still missing bombs, so it might be possible even if the map was in the sanctuary chest, we would still need to get bombs. We would have to go to the backup escape later on when we have the gloves. This is in the event that we don't find any bombs here in the escape.
I have not seen any sort of farming ahead of time. We don't need bombs in escape. We can bonk.
It's true. I completely forgot about that. So the boots, that means we'll check the backup escape no matter what. So these bonking is always the best thing.
Ranger Avoid also pointing out that when we have a boot opening sort of seed, it's a special sort of addition to the randomizer that is explicitly built out, but there will eventually be an empty treasure chest somewhere that's where the boots would have been located. I don't think there's any logical restrictions to it.
Fear, we had the book in the Dark Cross chest, so we can check the pedestal very early. We can probably rule that out if possible.
you know, it's a very small % chance anyway with requiring a pedestal check, but it would be interesting to see if any of these runners went ahead and checked just for safety's sake. We have a shovel, there's our map, and a bug net.
So we have a 1 maximization check here from this shovel spot after we finish up with Kakariko. For me, the ideal Kakariko would be if you get bottle, hammer, powder, boots, and a shovel. If there's a full-on maximization, like a check here, this would be the ideal Kakariko earlier on, because you would check everything. We got a flute in the sanctuary.
What is this seed early on? My goodness.
Very interesting to see the flute this early on. So we have access to the mountain. We also have access to Old Man Cave, but we can only do at this point in time. We can only do the Spectral Rock. Speaking of the powder, there's powder in the bug rocks.
This is just being such a front-loaded race up to this point in time.
Yep, and Chisame and Fear are going to take a route diversions. Chisame is going to head straight up for the Lumberjack Ledge, and Fear is heading for the Lost Woods, potentially going to check the pedestal this early on. It's a low % chance, as you mentioned. I mean, any pedestal C kind of like is pretty weird. Even Agaped, like, yeesh. And 50 rupees on the Lumberjack Ledge, so we're not going to be killing Aga 1 just for 50 rupees.
I mean, I've heard people being desperate for Zora money, but not that desperate.
Yeah. Besides, we have 50 rupees on the mushroom spot. And yeah, Fear is going to head for the pedestal check right now. It makes sense. You had the book that early. You might as well rule out the pedestal right here while you're there.
Yep, so sub 8 minutes, we're going to figure out. I make things go triple boom.
Yep, as I mentioned previously, it's unlikely that we see a pedestal seed, and it's just 3 bombs. Yeah, not really going to pull the pedestal for that, just 3 bombs, unless you're very, very desperate.
Yeah, Technolink is also checking out that. We did see that tier 1 tree pull from Lin and Fear, I believe. Chisame is also checking out that pedestal. We did get 20 rupees, though, in that tier 1 tree pull, so that's great information.
Yep, and Fears has made their way over to the well, and okay, we got the Cancer Maria.
No bombs, though, so Fear is going to have a little bit. He took a gamble that he'd be able to find some bomb drops before being able to go back, but unfortunately that was not the case, so he is going to have to come back to that well.
And Fear is activating his float. The peck neck is a wreck.
Lin is also going to have to make that trip back. Oh, and our merchant actually has our first glove upgrade. That was a risk there by Chisame. Has not yet bought bombs. Spent all their rupees instead and was rewarded with our first glove upgrade. Still has not purchased bombs, though. That could be detrimental. But other than that, it was a great call. Oh, and 10 bombs. Bailed out.
Oh, not to mention, too, Fear found the flippers in the back of the tavern as Lin gave our auditory flute activation. And that was our boots location. That was our boots chest.
What kind of stacked Rico is this? I mean, we have an early flute, Kata Samaria, gloves. We've already got the book. I mean, this has been an absolutely stacked early game. We're still sub 10 minutes, guys. Big shout out to our trainers doing all that work.
Not to mention, Fear also picked up the ether as well, and that was probably, I'm assuming that was in the chicken hut. because there was nothing else you can really do. Yep, that's the ether in the chicken hut. And this seed is already loaded with all bunch of good stuff. We already have a third of our Dark World access. We have our powder. We have an early flute. We have another we have another check coming up of the shovel spot, and we wrap that down all the way over to South Shore without having to do a save and quit. Although, preferably, the runners are going to probably save and quit after the shovel spot to make it save a bit of time there. We have our sword. We have pedestal is completely dead because of the 3 bombs on the pedestal, and yeah, so far so good.
Alright, so all of our runners still finishing up their Kakariko checks, and it's been absolutely paying off. We've gotten just about everything. Fear is going to be the first one to do our south of CAC checks here in the library and then in the maze race. 300. Hey, I'll take that.
Yeah,
we got Zora.
I buy that for $1, and that's our Zora money.
Chisame opted not to get it. Has 400 rupees on his side. That's interesting. Just some bombs in the race game.
And yeah, this is going to be Chisame now checking at the shovel spots for a blue mail.
Hey, I'm a scrub. That sounds like heaven to me right there. Blue mail this early.
It is nice to get a mail upgrade this early in the game. That's speaking from my own experience. 20 rupees in the dam. In fact, you got protection, you got some safety right out of the gate. Not to mention we don't have a bottle just yet. We have a powder, we have the bug net in case we need to catch some fairies. Once we get a bottle, 20 rupees on the desert ledge as Fear is heading for, interestingly, going for Desert Palace right out of the gate.
Technolink is opting to go a different route. He went right to Ice Rod Cave. I think he's going to be following those boots because he has the money to be able to do the Zora check as well. Chisame is going to show us many more.
And Ice Rod Cave only having a heart piece, and Fear is completely entered Desert Palace. We don't have to worry about it being boots locked because we already have the boots. And Chisame cleared out the Moldorms, and now is going to check mini Moldorm pretty proper, starting things off with a heart piece. Then our Master Sword. Okay, we have a Sync Heart, 10 arrows, and 300 rupees. So we are really loaded on money. We have our Master Sword, and wow, we have our Sync Heart too, which personally I would rather have it wait until later, but it's nice to find it to rule out the Sync Heart that early.
Here's another thing we have to take into consideration. That's our second sword. So we have Master Sword, we also have the lamp. We have our access for Aga 1, if that's our Dark World access. Otherwise, we really only have the single glove. We do not have the Moon Pearl. We do not have our second glove or the hammer. So if it's still in these early sphere locations, then maybe we can dodge it. But right now, it's pointing towards a possible Aga required seed.
And if it was a normal seed, this would be boots locked. But since we had the boots enabled, this is not a problem. The big key was on the torch, and Technolink is checking the man under the bridge, also known as the hobo, 20 rupees. And everyone except for Technolink is in Desert Palace. It's a good play. Desert Palace, you can get a crystal right out of the gate, and you don't have to worry about doing a whole bunch of different checks here. Techno is going to head for Zora and also the Waterfall Fairy, ever in the Waterfall of Wishing, or just the entire area of the Wishing, or a Wishing place thing.
Yeah, I think Technolink right now is gambling that he'll be able to route in Desert Palace with maybe a Misery Mire a little bit later. So he's checking everything else. And there's another sword. That's going to be our third sword available already. Wow.
3 swords in the light world is very, very nice. And this is going to be very helpful too, because Fear, Chisame, and Lin are going to be running back all the way over to Zora once they have a whole bunch of money to spend. They will get a tempered sword right out of the gate as Fear has opened up the Lamb Molus fight. Technolink is going to head for Zora. And there is nothing of importance on Zora Ledge from what I can understand. And a little bit of love from Zora for Technolink. Nice to get early. I'd pay 500 rupees for a little bit more health.
At this point in time, I mean, yes, we have green mail, but, you know, anything to help out. Fear is actually, he's trying to bomb Lanmo, trying to do anything he can to help out. Bombs do damage the Lanmo, but man, they are so incredibly tricky to nail.
Yeah, but Lin's also running the Samaria strats on this Lambo fight. I'd personally just spin and win. But Fear Agent has taken down the Lamb Molus and he has drawn first blood. He's got the first crystal in the race.
First crystal, but as someone pointed out in chat, you know, these are longer Landmo fights. It may be advantageous to do it later in the game when you can route it together with Misery Mire, or when you have higher equipment loadout, you can just make quicker work. Right at the moment, these are relatively short or relatively long fights, I'm sorry, and Technolink now is actually diving in himself.
Fiero's going to take the aid to the right and checking out Agnes Cave with only 2 bombs remaining. This is a really nice trick here. You can hold on to the bomb and then push your way into there. 50 rupees on Agnes Cave. It's a nice little speedrun tactic. Just make things make the entrance to that chest a lot more quicker.
All right, so Technolink has shown us kind of the flippers checks that we have access to, and everyone else has gone over to Desert Palace. What's left for these early checks? I mean, we haven't gone over to the Eastern Palace area at all, so that's a possibility. We also technically do have access to Death Mountain, at least the Old Man, and then we can peek whatever on Spectacle Rock and then whatever's in the cave. But other than that, I mean, we're starting to run out of locations before we might be forced to do Agate.
Yeah, the only thing that could potentially, if we do not find the Moon Pearl in any of those locations, it would have to be on the Pyramid Ledge, no matter what.
All right, so some cleaning up of some of these other locations. We have Chisame also going ahead and knocking out Aegina's Cave. Fear is now doing Mini Moldorm, which is too bad. He's going to get his second sword and like, oh, well, that would have been nice for Lanmo. Yeah, that would have.
And Len's going to use that Ether Medallion to quickly take care of those Moldorms, mini Moldorms. And Chisame is setting up for a water walk. This is done by going on the edge of Ice Rocket perfectly to the left, the right side of the hole for Ice Rock Cave, dashing from and into the entrance, and then dashing off the side of, or not even dashing, but just going off the side, just jumping off the side of the bridge, of a little ladder, and you get yourself a water walk.
Question becomes, where's going to be our next bit of information? They've had a couple small route divergences, but nothing that I would say is out of the ordinary at this point in time, or even unreasonable. So what's next? What's our next stop?
Eastern area. Just go for Saha, go for Sahasrara, go for Eastern Palace. If that is not where our Moon Pearl and our hammer is, or not even that, if that's not where our Moon Pearl, hammer, or Titan's Mitts, and either the hammer or Titan's Mitts, then you just go up. You have to gamble on the mountain, and if that's not it, then your Moon Pearl has to be on the Pyramid Ledge.
3 of our runners are now equipped with that tempered sword that we anticipated. Technolink, the only one without it right now. He hasn't done Mini Moldorm Cave yet, which is a little bit surprising. That's a pretty stacked area, although he might be hard gambling that. That's interesting.
Well, his gamble did pay off in the fact that he got another sword from the pyramid, not the Pyramid Ledge, the Waterfall Fairy. But everything else, it's not bad. It's just okay-ish. And Shizame is heading towards the mountain. It's going to grab Old Man Cave, Old Man from the Old Man Cave. Fear is also doing the same thing. And Lin is going to check his flipper checks. And there's our being a bow. That is Sickhead in play.
That does open up one more location, but I'm really kind of interested in this play because if you find one item in either the hook shot or, well, I guess you would need both the mirror and the hammer to go the other way, but you potentially could have access to the rest of Death Mountain. But otherwise, this is only 2 checks. Oh, there's a Moon Pearl.
We need a mirror for that. And only a heart piece inside Spectacle Rock, so we need to find a mirror somewhere. So now that leaves it to potentially the mirror could be on the Pyramid Ledge. Oh, there's our first bow from Sick Kid.
Hey, Sick Kid with the bow. We have the lamp. Yeah, Eastern is looking real good right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what Shizame is doing. And we got our hook shot. Oh, this is interesting. So we have East Death Mountain in play, but we do not have Tower of Hera in play. So that is more checks up the mountain. And that's exactly what Lynn's doing. He's not went up that mountain just yet. So he's going to get a lot more checks than Lin is going to have. Or not Shizame, not Lin, Shizame. As Shizame is heading for Eastern Palace, because that is a viable option at this point in the race.
And it was all about order of operations. If you went to Eastern Palace first, checked Sahasrara's closet, and got the hook, all of a sudden, man, it is looking much more attractive to go up Death Mountain, so you can even avoid it. Meanwhile, everyone else is actually doing Eastern Palace even before they check the closet. So really 2 different philosophies in running right now, and it's leading in 2 entirely different directions. Just a single decision can really change this race, and it's shaping up that way so far.
Yeah, Lin has a good advantage here coming up. Now that Lin got the bottle, he will be able to get the bow later on. And Lin sees that Moon Pearl, and Technolink's gonna check the inside Spectacle Rock blind. And Lin's actually gonna be leaving the mountain. Just gonna save them hook shot for later. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what. Okay, Lin just immediately wanted to turn in that bottle, apparently.
I mean, it's a good option, but it still leaves you. Oh, there's our hammer. So we have our dark. We have we just need a mirror for your Dark World access.
And it would not be unheard of if the mirror could absolutely be on the pyramid ledge if we have any sort of requirement to do AGA. However, we do have all of the east side of Death Mountain. Lynn is going to be showing us the east side of Death Mountain right now. Doesn't have the hammer though, so won't be able to do Tower of Hera. We're talking about efficient plays up here. It seemed like it's almost a forced double, maybe not a forced double dip, but certainly made it appear to be a forced double dip.
Yeah, at this point too. Also, Technolink found out that that was actually the goal B, so he gets a free 100 rupees from the Bottle Bender. There's Half Magic and Quake in the bottom of Paradox Cave. Now for the top 5 in the Paradox Cave. We get a heart container, 20 rupees, a heart piece, 100 rupees, and 20 rupees. So Quake and Half Magic are the only things that are notable here.
Yeah, they're nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
Yeah. So Chizume has made their way over to the back of Eastern Palace. So for Lin, he will not be able to do Hera. But once Chizume goes back into the closet of Sahasrara, then he will be able to do Hera. That is another thing you can do. We have more checks as we come up later on down the road. As Chizume's fighting the Armos Knights, Lin in Spiral Cave. And our first shield.
All right, so Tower of Hera does have 2 items in it. If the mirror is in the Tower of Hera, then at this point, that's going to be our Dark World access to be able to get everything. If it is not, though, we might have an AGA required seed still. Yeah. Oh, we do have the tablet as well that's up there.
Yeah, the tablets are also a thing, but just the Ether tablet is the only thing that you can check to, like as far as tablets are concerned. But that is a very, very nice thing. But Lin's heading for Eastern Palace as Chizume has picked up the hook shots from Sahasrara's closet. And that means another trip up the mountain.
So many trips up the mountain. You know, kind of one of the first speedrunner strategies that I learned is you do what you can to try to minimize trips up Death Mountain, because it's about a minute and a half anytime you have to fully climb the mountain. So you try to minimize those trips as often as you can, but this seed just doesn't seem to want to let you do it all in one go at all.
Yeah, I think the more ideal route is if you decided to go to Sahasrara early, you just go to Sahasrara, the East Death Mountain, Eastern area of early, and then go into Eastern Palace. Once you'll probably double dip Eastern Palace, yes, but you save a trip up the mountain as a result.
And chat pointing out something interesting that you don't always see in randomizer seeds. It does look like we're going to be able to full clear all 3 Light World dungeons before even stepping foot into the Dark World, which is a little bit amazing in and of itself.
Yeah, this is unheard of in most cases. Normally the Light World dungeons are locked behind something from the Dark World. But since we got all the items that we needed from the Light World, that means we can in fact clear them all. And since they're all crystals, this makes this excursion very much worth it. And hitting all those these 3 crystals in the Light World. And we also, once we are done with that, we will have access to the Pyramid Fairy very, very early.
Oh my gosh, we have access to we're unlocking Pyramid Fairy before we even get into the Dark World. My mind is blown right now.
Yeah, this is unheard of. Like Yeah, this because the fact that crystals were laid out, the 5-6 crystals were laid out in the light world, it was actually makes it really quick. 20 rupees on the ether tablet, and now it's just a matter of going into Hera. Will this be the make it or break it of when we're going to be going to Aga 1? There's 2 more items left.
I mean, not including if we have further fetch quest opportunities given, so on and so forth. But yeah, this is really looking interesting. We've had access to Aga for quite some time, and if that ends up being play, I mean, I would be blown away. There's our first item. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire here. It's just only 1 item remaining, and that means that mirror will that mirror is likely, very much likely, on that pyramid ledge.
Oh, chat pointing out the magic bat is actually another location that is technically open to us. We got the hammer and we got the powder, so that's looking a little bit attractive right now, actually.
That is true.
Oh, the small key. That's what we didn't want to see.
That means there's an item in the basement. How if in the event that Moldorm actually has a dungeon item? Speaking of Moldorm, Chisame is fighting the Moldorm fight right now. And Len's actually going to be playing it a little bit differently here. He's actually going to be checking the magic bat like right now. And there's our mirror on Moldorm. That is Aga 1 not required. And there's your Dark World access.
What is this? I was promised trolling. My goodness, Trolldorm. Live up to your name.
Len is also checking the magic bat, but it's not going to be where the mirror is at, but instead just 10 arrows. So there's your Dark World access, and we're going to get probably a match check here from Chisame for this Dark World. Funnily enough, he's a mushroom. Green pendant on the on Meyer. I saw a blue pendant on Pod as well.
And Thieves Town was the final pendant, so I mean, it's interesting. I really hope, we have access. As soon as we get the Titan's Mitts, we will have everything necessary to likely get into Misery Mire. That flute is usually the key item that kind of locks that up, but we got that early. I don't know. That might mean something is in Mire.
Yeah, and not to mention, too, we have 2 medallions already available for us. Potentially, those are going to be required, unless Bombos is actually what we need for Mystery Mire. And Chisame is pretty much now going to check Hype Cave.
Yep, get your guesses in chat right now. While we've had a pretty hype light world. We've completed all 3 light world dungeons. What's Hype Cave going to give us? Is it going to be old-fashioned hype? Is it going to be new-fashioned hype? Is it going to be a dud? Get your guesses in.
I mean, at this point, when we got a whole bunch of items on the light world, it's gonna probably equal. The Hype Cave itself is gonna be equalized to be pretty much done in my eyes. So we're gonna start with 3 bombs, and then our red boomerang, a heart piece, another heart piece, and 3 bombs. So yeah, that's as I figured. It'd be since we have a whole bunch of items from the light world. That pretty much equalizes to just being your average Hype Cave, or Cave 73, as I like to call it.
Yeah, that was a pretty meh cave, all things said, from top to bottom right there. The only thing that kept it from being a 0 of 10 in my book was, we didn't have a single arrow or a green rupee and anything, so we had something. It's not great.
Oh, Chisame, since we have all the materials we need for Swamp Palace, Chisame is actually doing that right now.
That's an interesting call. I mean, I get the logic. When you're given a complete kit for one of these crystal dungeons, you go ahead and do the crystal dungeon. But Swamp Palace is one of those dungeons that you can kind of put off sometimes because you want to try to go.
Yeah, but it's also where we have the highest amount of checks in the game. It's a total of 6 in terms of dungeons. Linlin and Technolink simultaneously get their mirror and their crystals.
Fear is also doing the Swamp Palace play. So we don't know what is necessarily going to be required for access into Turtle Rock specifically, or Misery Mire for that matter, but we have 2 of the 3 medallions, as you already pointed out. The other thing that we are missing right now, rods and Titansmith. We're already 3 items away from gut mode.
Yeah, we just need the rods and our Titansmiths, and this is surprisingly quick. This is living up to the name. This is really fast. This is a fast Ganon seed, and this is also really, really fast.
Of course, the Ice Rod is perennially just the item that can be just about anywhere, and Turtle Rock is required, so we do have to go ahead and clear that out. We don't know where it's going to be, but man, we would love to find that and Fire Rod. Of course, Fire Rod's going to be required for Skullboids as well as Turtle Rock. But yeah, right now, clear out the crystal dungeons that you can, and that looks to be what Chisame and Fear are both doing. We'll see what Lyn and Technolink end up deciding to do shortly as well.
Yeah, and this is very interesting because Chisame might just end up going back into Swamp Palace to check the left side swamp, because this is a dungeon. This is the only crystal dungeon you can really do at this point in time without diving into any pendant dungeons. And Feasttown is looking really nice, as well as Pod, as far as our pendant dungeons are concerned.
Yeah, both of those are clearable right now. Oh, but man, I would be super nervous about doing any pendant dungeons. When you got this kind of fast start, I would even check Overworld, maybe clear out the Village of Outcasts, and with the mirror, you can even do things like K45, Graveyard Ledge. We can even check King's Tomb right now. So I might even be tempted after this Swamp Palace, if nothing ends up being here, checking out some of the dark Overworld locations.
Chisame picked up the gold sword and a blue boomerang in the back of Swamp Palace. So that's all 4 swords accounted for, and Chisame is fighting Argus. And this will be a really, really quick Argus fight because these go down super fast. I'm going to take it the normal route, not the machine gun method where you hold out your sword and just spam the hook shot and kill them just one by one, continuously in rapid succession. Love that. Love that trick. And that's Chisame's 4th crystal, surprisingly.
4 crystals in under 40 minutes. My goodness.
So we're getting a crystal every 10 minutes at this point. This is impressive.
And as soon as we get the 7th crystal, we can go immediately and fight Ganon. All of these runners are very versed in silverless Ganon. They're not going to be hunting for the silvers in any capacity. It's just a matter of finding 2 rods and the Titansmith. One of the nice things about the Titansmith still being on our list is that does kind of restrict us. You know, there's some overworld locations and 3 dungeons that we don't have access to, so we're not going on a wild goose chase for that Fire Rod and the Ice Rod right now.
And no, I'm not talking about the goose from Untitled Goose Game.
Boo. Maybe I'm old. I don't get the hype. I just don't understand it.
Funny game.
All right, so where do you go from here? Chisame is going to go ahead and clear out left side swamp after getting Swamp Palace cleared off. But what's next? Where do you possibly go from here? Do you do the pendant pod, which does have quite a few treasures in it? Do you take a dip over into Thieves Town where you can get the first 4 and then maybe nope out if you like what you're seeing? What would you do, Professor Renderer?
After left side swamp, I'd probably just maybe deal with K45, deal with the dig game, and if we happen to find the Titans mates here, route it all the way up to Village of Outcasts. That, or since we can also go, since we have access to pod and we can clear pod, and that we could potentially go to pod because that's our next high value, like in terms of item density. Not to mention too, we can check the Pyramid Fairy, we can check the Pyramid Ledge, we can check Catfish. A whole bunch of items are in that pod area.
Does Pyramid Fairy hold any special value to you, knowing that we had the 5-6 crystals were so early and we were able to clear them out that quickly? I mean, it almost feels like getting an early fetch quest item, and you want to turn those in really quick.
Excuse me, meanwhile, checking the bomb 7. I'm actually gonna, after checking now, let's actually take my guesses. We have a heart container. So, I feel like it doesn't, honestly, Pyramid Fairy might not be anything of value, but you're routing the end along with 5 items and 2 more, and the other item on Pyramid Ledge and Catfish, you get a total of 9 checks. Because you get 5 plus 2, which is 7, and then the other one for 8, and the Catfish for 9. So you have a whole bunch of checks in that pod area. It's very much worth it to go to this pod area, and that's exactly what Chisame is going to be doing. He's heading for the Pyramid Fairy in addition to the Pyramid Ledge, and if Chisame decides to go to pod, this will very much be very much worth it. I feel like this is, in my opinion, the play to make.
This is kind of the decision time at this point in time. We'll see. Yeah, Chisame is going over here to the pyramid. Gets the glitch to save the bomb. Well done.
Love that little trick. Love that trick. Can't pull it off, but I'm too scared to pull it off. But it's really nice to see someone do it. So Chisame is going to check the Pyramid Ledge. Only 20 rupees. And now heading to Pyramid Fairy. And we're going to be receiving a heart piece and another heart piece. Okay, so that's Pyramid Fairy. That's the pyramid taken care of. So now I'm hoping that Chisame could go to pod. That or Catfish, because that's another viable option. And that's, yeah, Chisame is heading for pod. Also 20 rupees in the K45 from Fear Agent.
That is just super interesting. We get our first real route divergence. Are you going east or are you going west? And we have Fear Agent who's going, oh, there's silver.
That is amazing. We do not have to, in general, we don't have to worry about the last 4 chests in the game. And GT is completely dead because we had 3 swords. We had 3 swords in the light world. And then we had another sword in Swamp Palace, which is a dungeon you can't clear, and all the runners have grabbed it at this point. Pure Agent going for the dig game, while Chisame has entered pod. And 3 bombs on the dig game.
Big key located in the first treasure chest. So technically, this is a bow-locked Palace of Darkness, although not necessarily concerned about that.
Oh no, not at all. Especially that these bows are very accessible. Even if you don't have if you have if you don't have the other bow for whatever reason, you have a whole lot. You can get another bow from Stumpy, so you can in fact clear pod no matter what. The bow locations are very convenient locations that you don't have to worry about being locked without a bow at all, especially now that we have a progressive bow. This is one of the big things about V31. It's one of my favorite things about V31, that progressive bow.
Yeah, the progressive bow is absolutely something that I've been enjoying quite a bit as well. I mean, it does, I think logically, it does mean that you're more likely to have to do a silverless Ganon unless you really go hunting. But that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's just so annoying to where it used to be, where you ended up getting silvers without the bow. That was the pits.
Yeah, that was very irritating. Lin grabbing his silver arrow bow. And Technolink is finishing up his left side swamp checks. Which, of course, had nothing in there, but we had a tempered sword. This does help significantly in the fights to come, and we all have equal footing as Chizame will obviously go over to Stumpy after he's done with this pod play. Now, the last time I was calming, I remember that a lot of the runners had, in fact, orphaned the catfish, and that happened to be where the boots are in order to get a sword. And that was a pain, and this was something I did not want to see that happen. But luckily, since we have all 4 swords, this will not be a big issue. The only thing I'm worried about is if the runners have decided to orphan enough, who's to say that there's some progression there?
So Chisame is the one who is furthest into Palace of Darkness, but there has been nothing of value, nothing that we're really looking for right now. And I'm starting to get a little concerned that this is going to be a gigantic waste of time.
I mean, it makes a whole lot of sense. You have 9 locations. There's Arcana Burna. We have Spike Cave available to us.
Hey, Burna, best Kane.
Oh yeah, definitely. Locking up enemies up against the back wall. Very, very, I love that. Just love it, love it, love it.
So Lynn is actually doing these northern routes. He's going to check King's Tomb and then likely go over here to the Graveyard Ledge. This is, in Randomizer, oftentimes it's doing something that your opponents aren't doing. Another heart container. This has been a healthy seed where we have a lot of hearts right now.
Yeah, only just under 15 minutes, we already have 14 hearts available to us. Technolink is heading for Catfish, while Lens is going to go ahead and finish up that Graveyard Ledge play. Looks like Cheesemate did not find anything of worth inside Pod. So Technolink is going to finish out our last for 9 checks here. And only a heart container, so that was a waste of time. And so... Yeah,
Village of Outcasts is looking attractive right now. We have not been into the Village of Outcasts quite yet. We potentially have a dive into Thieves Town, which is still a possibility. Lin looks like going over and going to be doing their catfish check.
Yeah, I feel like Village of Outcasts is the next best option. After you got done with your 9 items, which was a waste of time, I feel like Village of Outcasts will have our potential progression. Because at this point, you're diving dependent dungeons. You didn't find a whole lot in Swamp Palace, so you have to dive for Swamp dependent dungeons. The next potential option is Thieves Town. That, or if you decide to play it a little bit gutsy, go for Misery Mire and hope it's either Quake or Ether.
So, if if you were running right now, which item would you prefer to see? Would you prefer to see the Titansmiths, or do you want to save one of the rods first?
Me personally, the rods, like at least a fire rod, because yeah, that way I will have a dungeon to clear, and if I'm if the Titansmiths are in Skull Woods, then that play has paid off for me significantly, and that means I have access to Ice Palace and also a bit of Turtle Rock. Actually, now that I think about it too, since we do not have the Titansmiths for Misery Mire, we cannot go to Misery Mire. Scratch that from the record.
Yeah, so Lin is now going into what we now know is a worthless pod. So Lin is going to be spending the next 5 minutes toying around here a little bit. Technolink looks to be heading over into the Village of Outcasts area. Chisame is in the light world, probably heading to the dark world here directly. So we make it our answer if Village of Outcasts is the play.
Yeah, this is interesting because you can either do Skull Woods, which I probably would hold off until we have a Fire Rod, and it's only 2 items in that specific area. I'd just say go for Village of Outcasts, but Technolink is in Skull Woods. We might be able to get our answer here if this is a double dip for Technolink or not. Also, Chisame is going to go there too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that they're really close by. Actually, Chisame is actually heading for the Village of Outcasts, as I thought it was going to be. And Chisame going to check the chest game. And
Fear Agent is actually doing something interesting. He's going all the way to Helmasaur King. None of the other runners did it, and I wasn't keeping track of the items, so I trust Fear. He's a good enough runner that there's probably an item here, and everyone else just orphaned it based on the time sink that it would be to kill this boss.
Actually, there is an item on Helmasaur, as our chat points out. So this is going to be an interesting gamble. None of the runners, Chisame and I believe Technolink, did not go. There's our Bombo, so that is all of our medallions accounted for. So we do not have to worry about going into any dungeons and have one medallion missing. So Fear has taken down the Helmasaur King. Chisame heading to Thieves Town. And there's our green potion.
That's 2 items in Skull Woods. Also picked up the mushroom in Skull Woods.
And Elma had nothing. So this was a complete waste of time.
Koi online in chat is saying, obviously it's in Spike Cave. Fear Agent looks to be going to Spike Cave too.
This is an interesting call. I like this little play. It's a very interesting play indeed. I personally would rather go and round down the different item density. Oh wait, there's our Titansmiths. It was on the mushroom.
Oh wow. Okay.
And
Technolink with the play.
And where was that mushroom anyway? I did not see where he got the mushroom.
It was in the spike room in Skull Woods. That used to be the guaranteed.
Yeah, B31 has now made the pinball room not a guaranteed item. So that pinball room has now become a valuable option, and Quake is on Misery Mire. So Technolink can definitely go dive Misery Mire for that Fire Rod, if he so chooses.
Pendant Mire sounds gross to me, especially with how much just opened up for you. Like, I'm feeling Ice Palace probably before I would do Pendant Mire.
Oh yeah, definitely go for Ice Palace, because you had 3 items for Misery Mire's 2.
You do need Bombos, though, and only Chisame has Bombos at this point in time. So Technolink has to divert over to Village of Outcast to pick up that Bombos before he'd be able to do it. He doesn't know that yet. He's on the hunt right now.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna need Bombos to enter Ice Palace. So Technolink is gonna take a gamble here, and he's going to go into Misery Mire. This is an interesting call. Shizame continuing his trek through Thieves Town.
Lynn also taking the time to go defeat Helmasaur King. Oh, rip. Oh, Fire Rod!
Ooh, there you go. Shizame found it on the Maiden Chest. This alone means that Shizame will be able to go into Skull Woods, and he will be able to get the mushroom from the pinball room, and he's also able to clear Swamp Palace, or not Skull Woods. So yeah, this is a very high value play. Thinking going Village of Outcast is the play to make, and you also get yourself a dungeon item to clear. And Shizame had an excellent scripted fight. And there's your Ice Rod.
We're in no mode. We are in no mode. Sub 1 hour. Oh my goodness.
And the best thing about this too is that Shizame will be able to get that mushroom once he goes to Skull Woods. This is amazing. Both rods are in Thieves Town, and you do not have to worry about having Bombos or anything. And yeah, this is exactly what Shizame is going to do now. He's heading for Skull Woods. He'll be able to clear it, and he will also be able to get that mushroom, which leads to the Titansmith or your Go mode.
The key thing in this play with Chisame as well is that because he doesn't have the Titansmiths, Chisame will be forced to do things like turning in the mushroom before even attempting to dip their pinky toe into Ice Palace and wasting any time. This is absolutely huge for Chisame. Absolutely with the lead right now.
Yeah, Ice Palace is a complete Gomo dungeon. Skull Woods is going to eventually be a Gomo dungeon, and Turtle Rock is going to be a Gomo dungeon. We have all three medallions. This means that Shizame will not have to worry about hunting for another medallion once he's over onto that big old mire area. So we're going to be planning Gomo right ahead. Shizame is going to head to the back of Skull Woods to finish up Mothula, and then going to float over to 2, turn in that mushroom, and then get that Titansmith for your Go mode, then go to Ice Palace, and then Turtle Rock. That's how I see it. That, or you can do the other way around with Turtle Rock and Ice Palace, just to make things a little bit more quicker.
And just think, as fast as this seed has been, and this has been an incredibly fast seed, Chisame wasted, 6-7 minutes doing a worthless pod? This could be even faster.
Yeah, this is actually very nice, because even if Shizame spent time in pod, this didn't even stop him. The items were laid out and all in Shizume's favor. This is dare I say, a god round.
Other than that pod, but yeah, and it's ridiculous, and it's a butter sword. You can't ask for a better weapon loadout. You even have silvers. You have blue mail instead of red mail, but red mail's for cowards anyway.
Wait a second, Shizame team. Okay, so I'm gonna try to explain what happened. Shizame happened to light the left side torch, even when it was off, even when the torch box was not lit, and it still opened the door.
Ha! That's something that I want to go back and watch on the replay because that's going to be kind of cool to try to analyze.
Yeah, that was an interesting. That was very interesting from Chisame. I've never seen that.
Technolink still working his way through Misery Mire, which we know will be completely useless, unfortunately.
I guess I'll take this as a big speculation from chat. It looks like what happened was just, I think it was just a visual bug. It's kind of weird. I'd probably have to ask Chisame about that, about what happened with that torch box once we get the chance to.
And I love Chisame's routing here. Immediately finished up Skull Woods and is going to follow this northern route around. Has not done King's Tomb or Desert or the Ledge quite yet. So we'll be combining these on their way over to turn in the Mushroom. This is incredibly efficient routing. And Chisame is going to be in go mode very, very soon.
I mean, yeah, he's going to spend some time. He will spend some time in Graveyard Ledge and also King's Tomb, but that won't really matter. He's very much ahead. And all of these are just pretty much worthless. He can just leave the 20 rupees on the Graveyard Ledge and leave whatever was on King's Tomb behind. It just does not matter at all. You got this in the bag. Now, the one thing I'm thinking about too is that what if the other runners have actually made the conscious decision and left Pod behind when you had everything going in your favor? That would have been the ideal God route.
For not knowing where anything is, and I think Koi is pointing it out in chat. You race differently when you're in like a one-on-one race versus when you're in one of these large group races like this. When you're in a large group race, you can usually count on someone doing something weird like skipping pod, but it's worth pointing out that you did have access to full clear pod, and it was the most dense location. So it makes logical sense that just about everyone went. Chisame with Titan's Mitts officially in go mode. Ice Palace and Turtle Rock, and then we're going to beat Ganon. I'm guessing we're going to be at Ganon at about 10 minutes from now.
Oh yeah, time of go mode time of 102 17. That is a excellent go mode time for this seed. I mean, it would be a lot better if you had it would be a lot more better if it would be easier to do a sub hour if you had personally left Pod. If someone has actually left Pod and did a pretty gutsy gamble to leave that behind. But for Chisame, this would be a Goma Ice Palace. You definitely love having a Go mode Mire when you're with this amount of progression done, how quick the seed was. And it's even better when you have Turtle Rock. I mean, yes, Turtle Rock as a Go mode dungeon is pretty much the same as if you were just checking Turtle Rock and looking for an item in particular.
I mean, we called this Fast Friday. Casual early boots and fast Ganon. We weren't lying, apparently.
Yeah, this is excellent. This is very excellent.
This is the point of the run, though. If you're in Chisame's shoes, one, you're probably regretting dipping Pod. But either way, this is where the pressure starts setting in. You're like, oh, I'm in go mode, and I just have a couple dungeons to do. But then you realize that was far too easy. There's probably lots of people in go mode, and you start getting a little nervous about who else is in go mode. And this is when palms start getting sweaty, your knees are weak, your arms are heavy,
Just found out your sweater already. Mom
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Mom Spaghetti, yeah.
Yeah, but this is overall one of the, I think, a really nice seed. Fear Agent has already acquired his mushroom from the looks of things, and he will be in go mode soon. This is Shizume had made all the right calls. This, I mean, outside of that pod, didn't slow him down a whole lot, and this is a huge seed, like one of the fastest seeds I can think of, like so far. But Shizume on that cold stare fight can easily take down that shell, and this is going to be a really quick cold stare fight.
Yeah, I didn't quite get them knocked into the corner to stay there. And hey, why not? Because we need a magic cape too. I mean, why not?
Just to add a little bit more to that tracker, just add that cape in there. You're all good to go. I mean, and this is also especially nice because Shizume never picked up a. Oh no, he does have a shield. His tracker wasn't lit up for that, but this. Oh, this is. Oh, I don't know what this. I don't know what to say. You have blue mail. You have 14 hearts. You have gold sword. You have invincibility. This will be a really quick Ganon fight.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely fantastic, and this seed has been incredibly friendly, and I'm really surprised at how quickly this has all come through. Shizume has played just almost a perfect game. The early game was really interesting because we didn't quite get to the point where we could dive. In fact, it almost felt like a late access for Dark World, but by then we were given so much it didn't matter.
I noticed that Tendo Link had bombed Sahasrara because he was gambling on the possibility that Green Pennant had anything of use. But it's gonna head for Pod now. It's gonna be the first time he's done this. But dude, all eyes are on Shizume at this point. Lin's going to be in go mode. Fear is going to spend a bit of time going through these mirror checks. And at 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 23 seconds, Lin is now in go mode, the second runner to do so. And Fear will be following up pretty shortly.
Disseminate in chat says, this seed is more than friendly. It's like your next door neighbor of 20 years who invited you to barbecues. Yeah, it's real friendly.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Shizume now in Turtle Rock. This will be his final crystal dungeon to finish. To top off what was a excellent seed. You can go mode this dungeon. You do not have to worry at all. This is ideal. It was really fast from the start. We started off already pretty quick. We got that vanilla lamp in Link's house, and then the speed, and it just kept snowballing from there. You got everything. You had a stacked Kakariko. I mean, at the same time, you were able to finish up all three Light World dungeons right before you get your Dark World access, and there was even more to that. All the locations of all the items was very convenient. It was mostly all on the left side. Very occasionally, it would be on the right side of Hyrule.
Chat, MPN in chat says the seed lures you into thinking it's friendly, and then bam, tile room. Yeah, there's not going to be a tile room. Remember, it's fast skin, and we don't even have to step foot in the.
Also, we're gonna be doing the technical difficulty. Our stream is frozen, and we'll try to get that figured out soon.
See, at this point, I'm just presuming that we went so fast that we broke the stream. Like that's just how it is. The SG servers cannot handle how friendly we are being to these runners. It does not compute. I'm trying to determine where exactly we are. It does sound like we're on Death Mountain somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. We can't get Shizume's stream, but it's safe to assume that he's probably I don't know.
Oh, we're entering Turtle Rock. So this is Lin's stream, I think, where we're getting ready to use Bombos and then enter.
But oh boy, we need to recount this scene because this was amazing. So, oh boy. According to our chat, we do have Shizume had taken out Trinex, so Shizume will be fighting the big pig pretty soon.
And you gotta imagine, this Ganon fight is not gonna last very long at all. Yeah, Koi, we're not blaming me. I'm not taking the fall for this one. I always thought in the past, when we blame someone, it was like Herfy Durfy or something. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't blame her. All right, hey, look at that. We're back. And Chisame on their way over to Ganon. This is going to be quick.
And, well, there's that red mail that I was mentioning. So, it was probably on Trinex. But, I love that portal reference.
I completely missed it.
The administrator would like to remind you that the Companion will not betray you and in fact cannot speak.
Yeah, so we thought it was easy. And then we have red mail, so it's even easier.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be really quick, and we are already on phase 3. This is one heck of a ride.
Meanwhile, Lynn and Fear are both working their way through Turtle Rock right now. Technolink hasn't entered Thieves Town quite yet. Still clearing out Village of Outcasts. That's the key.
Jizumi did not have any time to do a torch glitch. Doesn't matter though. We have silver arrows. This will not matter at all. And he takes a fall?
Oh, that's rough. Oh, too bad.
That is it. Oh, maybe he took too much damage. He took a lot of damage, so he's grabbing that safety fairy.
All right, but Chismate, round 2, fight.
I mean, really, that fall does not matter. He's still way ahead. But Lin is actually gaining on Shizime a little bit, but even then, he's still gonna fight Trinex.
Trinex with Butter Sword, though, can go pretty fast, too.
Oh yeah, and this will be... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the explosions actually take longer than anything else on Trinex. Not quite the 0.
Yeah, but Shizume's back on phase 3. Gonna have a different pattern this time around because he took that fall. And, oh no, Silver, my one true weakness. And that is gonna be a double. Does not get Torch Glitch again, does not matter. 2 more shots left. And, well, get your GG to chat for Shizume. And he's taking down Ganon and will be crossing that 1x3 bridge very soon. What an excellent way to finish off a seed. And Shizume has finished first on the restream with an official SRL time of 1:17:11, and that is good for 3rd place overall. Going in descending order, we had Illis24 in 2nd place with a time of 1:15:29, and our winner of this race, Hydropower78, with a time of 1:14:19.
GG's to Shizume and our other restreamers. I did want to point out, Illis, you know what? I don't know if this is true, but Illis improved his personal best by almost 19 minutes. I mean, 7-7 fast Ganon is gonna do that, but this seed was excellent for time improvements. This alone is probably the best thing you can ever have done. Like, this is one of the best seeds ever. Like, currently, like this is why it's called Fast Friday, guys. This is why it's called Fast Friday. And we should probably get him. We'll see if we can get Cheeseman in for an interview. Oh, Lynn still had to do Ice Palace. So Fear, what are you doing? Fear, what? Well, Jizumi is in the booth, and we'll be able to get him in, like, pretty soon. Hi, Jizumi.
Yellow.
Hi.
Hey. GG's.
GG. So, I want to know specifically what happened in Skull Woods, because I saw apparently chat thought it was a visual glitch with that torch.
So if you light both the torches at the same time, the second torch won't light properly.
Huh.
Yeah, it's definitely on. It's just, it's thrown me off once before, and then, yeah, it's just a graphical bug, so as strange as that must have looked to everyone else.
That is very interesting, but, oh man, that seed was amazing, and, we're just trying to figure out what could have been improved a whole lot better. We thought Pod could be easily excluded from the record because like it's a pretty pointless dungeon. But even then, Pod was such a very nice looking place to go directly after Swamp Palace. After you got everything you needed for Swamp Palace, and you can just route that in after Hype Cave.
Yeah, I was really debating whether or not to go to Pod or go to Thieves Town actually, because the seed was sort of drying up. Sadly, Pod being more convenient baited me into it, and it had nothing. Feels like that would have definitely cinched the victory here.
Oh yeah, that Ganon fall. I mean, even then, even if you lost just a single position, it's still like you had a huge grapple on everyone. It's the top 5 and even top 3 that is nothing to scoff at, especially for the seed.
Yes, it felt like you just had to go forward for the most part, aside from the one pendant dungeon you had to go in. I could imagine if you did Skull Woods before you went into Thieves Town, or if you did, Eastern before you went up to get the bottle, to get the bow to go back, would force a double dip to Eastern. There was like a couple little time saves you could have done.
Oh yeah,
And
that's it.
that definitely would show the couple minutes, I guess, that's happening between everyone.
Yeah, this was definitely going through waiting a little bit off of Eastern just to make sure you had a quick. I mean, even you could double dip Eastern and save another climb up the tower, or climb up the mountain. But even then, there's probably a lot more to improve on that if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what else was there possibly? I guess if you somehow said you didn't want to do Swamp at all, and just somehow got the Go mode after finding Mitts. I guess the only other items that could have been Go mode, I guess, would have been Fire and Ice, wouldn't it? Since those are locked in Thieves.
Those were locked in Thieves, yeah, because that way you could just leave Swamp Palace behind. I think alone that would have been, you could cut it down to roughly, I believe, just under the hour mark.
That would have been quite interesting if we get it under an hour. I don't know, at what was the winning time by Hydropower? 114?
Yep. It was a 1:14.19. And speaking of times and finishes, his Fear Agent has finished second place on the restream with an official SRL time of 1:22.17. That's good for 5th place overall, and he does improve his personal best by almost 19 minutes. Going in descending order, we had one other finisher, and that was Goomba90 in 4th place with a time of 1:19.12.
Yeah, I get the perspective that we're going to see a lot of PBs on this particular run. Although these are PBs that aren't quite fair because it's Fast Friday, early boots, 7 to 7 fast Ganon. So,
And another finisher has gone live, and that was Lennon. Get your GGs in chat for him. And Fear Agent has joined us. Good game, man.
Suck on that, Lynn.
whoa!
good thing Link is not here yet.
He's finished 6th with an official SRO time of 1:23.60 and in 3rd place on the restream. That's good enough for improving his special PB by almost 11 minutes.
I mean, the PBs don't really mean anything because there's been so few of these races.
Yeah, we talked about that, but like,
it must be nice having your name in purple because I sure didn't get one.
Did you go to Pod?
Yeah.
Did you go to Helma?
Nope. The only thing I skipped, I full cleared everything else.
Yeah, I was down to second to last location in the midst. I had Mushroom and Catfish, and I was on my way to Catfish.
I had Catfish, Helma, and Mushroom left.
And hi, Lynn.
Hello, GG.
GG's.
Oh. Let's see.
I mean, if you don't hate on Pendant Thieves Down, I guess you're fine.
I mean, I debated whether or not to kill blind for a good 2 seconds.
I was almost at a spot. So I was like, I give up. If Helma has it, I lose this. So it's got to be on blind.
That's why I cleared blind as well, because I only had Skull Woods and like a couple more checks after that. So I was like, if I have to come back here, it's going to be a real big waste of time.
I mean, I was mids for go mode, and I was really running low. Just killed blind. I mean, no, I mean, I needed fire, ice rod, but I was really low on check for mids. That's why I killed blind.
Did you do Podlin?
Yeah.
Did you do Helma?
Yep.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I mean, I even did left side some because like after getting Dark World access with which I basically last location, like the first dungeon I did was Swamp because that was the most attractive. I'm not going to Pen and Pod. I'm not going to Pen and Thieves Town. So the most attractive dungeon at this point is just Swamp. So I also did left side Swamp.
If you had asked me right before we went to Swamp, I mean, that was the first dungeon I'm assuming everyone did. I was like, I would have put $1,000 on Mitts being in Swamp just because they're there so often.
Yep.
And when Swamp was empty, I was really surprised.
It's not even that. Like the flippers were absolutely useless. I mean, like they led to nothing. They led to nothing.
It was a sword. Was that it?
Yeah, that was it. And bow was the same thing. I thought the bow. Did you guys get bow before going into Eastern the first time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I thought that was going to lead to something. That's why I did Pod over Thieves Town.
Yep.
And that led to nothing. So.
And I even like put off Eastern for a bit when I got bow because I knew the pearl was up there. So like, if I get the mirror and my Dark Food access, I can do Eastern and Pod, right? But nope, armor had to be in Eastern.
Yeah, so much bait to seed. If you just didn't believe in anything, then you were fine. But I don't think that's happening.
I mean, Pod has kind of like it's been hard the last week. Pod had a lot of things, so like I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, I'll just go, I guess. And even when you're in, first chest is the big deal. Like, oh, that actually looks good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely felt really good when I saw Big Key in the shooter room. I was like, okay, Pod has something. Oh no.
Like after getting the pearl, I was also like thinking, I have a bug net, I have a bottle, I can go for that fairy. Like, but that's such a time loss to try and get a fairy there. So I just I'll just go to Swamp. And when I got the Kane in bottle, I was like, don't tell me it's Spike Cave. Cause...
Yeah, I did Spike Cave right after too, because I was like, oh, that's exactly where myths are going to be. Nope.
I think I found Kane. I was like, is Spike Cave a thing? I hope it's not a thing, because that was pretty early.
And technically gets finished off Cold Stare.
Did you go to Desert right after that? Because I sure did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I did Fire the Sword land weapon. I didn't feel great about it, but I didn't want to like go away without finishing it, knowing it was a red crystal.
Oh no, I went to Mini Moldorm. I picked up Master Sword, did Landmo,
lucky you.
and then I did the Flippers checks for Tempered, and I was bit.
Yeah, I went right to Desert, so I had Fighter Sword as well. That book also led to nothing. Like,
yes,
didn't need the book in the seed, which is another super troll.
It was literally nothing useful in any of the crystals, except for none of them.
I could have swore the Pyramid Fairy was going to have something, but
Same.
yeah.
I
don't know how you read
this.
this.
I finished Desert at this point because you get 2 items in the right side. You're like, I have low equipment. That landmark fight's gonna be so long. But since it's a red crystal, you're kind of have to finish it here.
Yep. Yeah, I considered bailing out after getting the 2 items, and then I was like, it's a red crystal. I don't know if Mirror is going to show up anytime soon. And it's like, oh, never mind, Mirror is required, but that was like after Landmo was dead.
Well, to kind of talk out the differences here, while the three of you, I mean, pretty much everyone ran very, very similar routes. I mean, everyone went to pod to at least check it out. Technolink, who was still running, actually opted to avoid pod initially and went over to do overworld checks in Village of Outcasts and things like that. Got the mushroom from Skull Woods, found the Titan's mitts, and immediately went to the Misery Mire area and full cleared Mire entirely. Then did pod and full cleared that. So Technolink is just now entering Turtle Rock right now, after even pulling the pendant, pulling the pedestal, actually.
Oof, yeah, if you found mitts before ice and fire, that's...
How do you pull bed when you basically get them so early and check the pedestal?
Yeah, I checked the
There's no-
pad right away.
I checked pad immediately.
Like,
I even think he checked pad and he was doing it at this point for the memes in the chat.
I mean, I can see how the ice rod on getting the mitts could really throw you off, and skipping that ice rod's not the most egregious thing to happen.
like I actually had one check left in Skull was when I got that mushroom. And that was the only check left. Like, I'll get my mitts now. That they're on mushroom. Like, that has to be it. So I can bail out and not going back to Skull Woods and search for the big chest, because the big key was even. Yeah, the second item was even in the big chest, right? Or in the... I don't remember.
No, the big chest had a small key. It was the big vanilla big key location, and then pot prison
yeah,
or the bumper, whatever
Yeah, the bumper room.
bumper room that had the
I
mushroom.
didn't check that. I wanted one trip like straight into mod and not going back or whatever. So I just checked the mushroom after I got it. I mean, it's kind of easy with flute and mirror to come back. Just here. And I didn't have to do those checks, so that's kind of good, I guess.
See that everything though: red mail, gold sword, silvers, half magic.
I'm missing 2 bottles. Could have used a bit more.
I only have one. Where did you find the other?
The other one was the second item in Skull
Ah,
Woods.
I'm actually surprised GT is empty. Like, it's literally empty. Maybe bottle. That's it. All
and like shields, yeah.
I was going to say, even Technolink right now is rolling around with 18 hearts. So even most of the health was out in the world.
Wait,
Very interesting.
does that mean GT is full of $20?
I guess.
I don't know, because I felt like I opened a lot of 20 rupees. Felt very, the money was flowing, that's for sure.
I just remember seeing 2 300s, a 100 and 250s, and like, I'm ready.
And I even took the one on the library because like I have less than 500. I'll just take it. Right? I have boots anyways.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the restream. I'm gonna go get some lunch. Thanks everyone.
No
Yeah,
problem.
same.
I'm gonna get some lunch after this too, so you're not alone.
GG's
Yes.
again. Thanks for the restream. Thanks to the comms and the trackers and the restreamers for
GG's
making this
team.
happen. GG's.
GG.
Team
was-
Kappa, GG's, Chisame, Lumlin.
It was
Got
fun. It was fun bullying you two again. Until next time.
That's why you're my teammate, so I don't have to get bullied by it.
Oh yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Okay, everyone.
Right.
So, Technolink is now going through GT. It's gonna probably finish it up soon. And, wow. This, oh man, I'm trying to make sure what was like, oh dude, this has been weird. A wild stage.
it's one of those seeds where you realize at some point in time that like, you know, one decision made all the difference. Because Technolink is not, like, if you're just looking at the total time right now, you're probably thinking Technolink is not a skilled runner. He is very skilled. He has absolutely won many of these races. It's just one decision, and that's all it can be sometimes, is one decision to change it from where we're at, with Techno getting baited a little bit, going into Misery Mire when he didn't need to, in full clearing Palace of Darkness, pulling the pedestal. It was really one decision that made the difference between a 117 finish and where Technolink is right now.
Oh yeah, this alone, wow, and he never got the silver arrows. I'm assuming from Stumpy.
Yeah, that's got to be it. Not checking Stumpy is really interesting, because usually you would do that in your like K45 checks. You would do it, you know, with your other routing in that high roll area. But again, Technolink, I think, went the route. He got the mushroom and then took that northern route, so he completely bypassed that south Dark World route that led him to that spot. So, you know, the routing decision here even cost him silvers, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting how one decision can decide the entire match.
Well, and to that, you know, that's one of those rando's gonna rando sorts of questions, because I mean that's what randomizer is about. It's, you have to make good, solid decisions, and sometimes you can even make the best statistical decisions the entire time, and it's just not always the right play. That's rando for you.
Yeah, and that's so nice about rando, just that you can have a one excellent, really fast seed, or you have a seed where you're just scratching your head figuring out where is your last item for go mode. And that is why I personally would recommend you going to check out Link to the Past Randomizer yourself. If this is the first time you're watching this kind of thing, go over to ALTTPR.com and generate a seed for yourself. It is worth it. And if you have what it takes to be on the race stream, then join us for one of our races. You join our Discord. The Link to the Past Randomizer community is a very open and inviting group of people that you will you'll ever be with ever.
Oh, absolutely. It's an incredibly welcoming community. We try to help out everyone that we possibly can. In the meantime, Technolink does complete his final crystal dungeon, so he will be on his way over to Ganon. I do want to give a shout out, while we have a second, to our trackers, Saphir and Lightyear, doing all the work behind the scenes. They had a very busy early part of this race. Made us look very good because we could call things out as they were doing their job. So thank you guys so much for that.
Yeah, your contribution is everything, and is great. You have, I mean, without our trackers, we would not be here figuring out what is going on. We would have our own trackers behind the scenes and everything. It would be just a huge mess. They are the unsung heroes.
Absolutely. While Technolink heads over to slay his blue bacon master himself, just a little update on other things going on here at the Speed Gaming Network. Going on over on Speed Gaming 2, we have a Super Mario Galaxy race that is going on. Also on Speed Gaming 1 is Luigi's Mansion No Out of Bounds Finals. It's a tournament going on. That's going to be hype. Also, immediately after that, at 6 o'clock Eastern, is going to be Zelda 1 Randomizer Tournament on Speed Gaming 1. On Speed Gaming 3 tonight at 6 p.m. is a Metroid Prime race. And then another Zelda 1 Randomizer race is immediately after the 6 o'clock, 6 to 7:30, and then 7:30 to 9 for that next one. lots of events going on here at Speed Gaming. Make sure to follow Speed Gaming 136 so you're notified whenever we have new content that is available for you on the Speed Gaming Network.
But Techno's on the big pig now, and wow, and you should definitely check out that speed, all those channels. They are one of the best channels you'll ever have to deal with or to watch your entire life. If you want to see everything about old games, new games, all indie titles, all being speedrun for your viewing pleasure.
All right, so Technolink is actually doing the silverless Ganon fight because he, again, did not pick up those silvers. They are on Stumpy. We know this. He does not know this, unfortunately, so he has to do this silverless fight. Effectively, it just means spinning at the moment and hitting him with the spin just before he teleports away, so it takes a little bit of finesse, but it's certainly something that most speedrunners learn at some point because it is faster than having to hunt down silvers in some obscure locations sometimes. And there we go. Silverless Ganon is down. And some frustration slash.
And get your G's in chat. Technolink survived as much as he possibly can, and this will be the last finisher as Technolink has finished in 4th place on the restream of an official SRL time of 1:42.13, and is good for 13th place overall. And there's a whole lot of runners here that has finished. I'm gonna just run it through this really quick. Unfit in 7th place with 1:23.49. Moogle Charm in 8th with a time of 1:32.19. AK Drizzt in 9th with a time of 1:37.43. Edium in 10th with a time of 1:38.23. Dragon Strike 1988 with 11th with a time of 1:40.01. Frostbite 30:30 and 12th with a time of 1:40.19. And we are joined by Technolink.
Good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. So,
Technolink. Yeah, we kind of came to the conclusion that it all came down to just one play, going ahead and getting that mushroom from Skullwoods, which got you the Titan's Mitts early, but then opened up so much of the rest of the world you didn't. I mean, you went to Misery Mire, you did Pod, you eventually went back to Thieves Town. Walk me through just your thought processes there as it's growing more and more frustrating for you.
So I was looking for a way to beat Skullwoods, or rather enter Ice Palace. So at that point, I was wondering where do I need to go from that point on. So I think I also gambled Turtle Rock, maybe if one of the medallions actually worked over there. That was after getting the Titan's Mitts. Didn't find anything there, and I was like, okay, I need to go for the most item heavy and maybe out of the way place, just maybe because I felt very behind. Especially once I got the mitts, or rather the Titan's Mitts, I was under the impression, okay, that has to be progression. So either it opens up the graveyard, but I was already there, so that's impossible. It opens Misery Mire, which is a green pendant dungeon. Possible, or it opens up Turtle Rock because I had those medallions, and that was the thought process. And well, at that point I got a bit frustrated by not finding anything in Misery Mire, if I recall correctly, and then went to Pod because that is also quite item heavy, and I didn't want to do a lot of overworld checks. And well, I gambled that there was something in Mire or in Pod, and well, we saw how that ended up. At that point I was just a bit annoyed, and I was like, okay, whatever happens, I'm going to finish these down completely. Well, look, I'm glad my microphone was off the moment I actually found the fire rod and the ice rod. That was literally, oh my word.
Yeah, it was super entertaining on this end because we knew where the rods were earlier. It also seemed like that routing, once you went to Skullwoods, got the mushroom, you kind of went that northern route to go turn in the mushroom, and that pulled you away from the South Hyrule route. Stumpy actually had the silvers, and everyone else ended up grabbing them kind of in their normal routing. So it was like it was a great seed if you did everything exactly right, and you just did one thing different, and it kind of ruined your day, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess everyone went after everyone did Swamp most likely, and then went west, Stumpy, Treasures, and then Deepstown, I assume. That is what I assume.
Yep.
Yeah. And I went right to the fish, graveyards, ledge. Yeah, and then the wheels flew off. But I was considering just going to bed and then saving and quitting. But I couldn't leave leave all of you hanging, both in chat and in commentary.
Well, it takes a special kind of toughness to finish out a seed when you see everyone else finishing and you still got dungeons to do, and I could tell you were a little bit tilted. I mean, you gave Sahasrara his 3 bombs right back to him.
Yes. All that hard work just for 3 bombs was just. Well, I was also a bit tilted is possibly the word, but at that point you just have to keep going. You just have to make the best out of the seeds, and also give Sahasrara back his bombs because, well, I don't need them at that point anymore. Maybe before I beat bomb jump. And then Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock was horrible. I think I dropped off the platform 4 times.
Yeah, those berries were kind of just messing with you there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's how it goes. It's how it goes. And to be fair, I believe that I saw people finishing at about 115, 120.
Yes, that is correct.
Then 140 isn't too bad, to be fair. At least from my perspective. Only 20 minutes behind, even after going the complete opposite direction.
Hey, and you pulled the pedestal too. I mean, some people entered Pod. Most people didn't even set foot in Misery Mire, but you had to full clear 1.
Yes. Yeah. It's how it goes. Like, you're looking for an item, you can't find it, and if I really, at the point that Misery Mire and the Rock were both blocked, and also Ice Palace was blocked, you have to wonder where can you go. So you go a sphere back, I guess. Say, okay, Pod was available, let's do it. Maybe I should have gone to. I was contemplating after the Misery Mire to go directly to Deepstown and pick up the frog, pick up the purple chest, because Tidesmiths opens that up as well. But that's Rando.
Right, but GG's to you, and thanks for putting on an excellent race.
No worries, and thanks for commentating, and of course everyone for watching as well.
And yeah, you should definitely give these all four runners, Apollo Chisame, Fear Agent, Lindland, and Technolink. They put on an excellent showing for you all. And of course, be sure to give our trackers a follow, Saphir and Lightyear. They are the unsung heroes, as I mentioned previously. They do not get a whole lot of love. You need to follow them. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us, Fantasia. Do you have any final thoughts on this whole seed as a whole?
If I just follow, if every time I deviate from what I normally want to do, just to try and get an advantage, it goes completely wrong. Maybe I should just stick to a certain route and hope it works out at one time.
And do you have any last words for you, Fantasia?
No, I'm good to go. Thank you again, Technolink. Make sure to follow all of our runners, Chisame, Lin, Fear Agent, and Technolink. And thank you, Professor Renderer, for busting your butt to get here from your lab. It's always a pleasure working with you.
It's nice to work with you as well. And I hope to see you all probably at SG Live. I mean, not for me, but we'll be seeing that Super Mario Maker 2 tournament. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole lot of fun. But that'll do it for us here at Speed Gaming. Remember to follow us at Speed Gaming 1 through 6. We'll see everyone at the next race. Have a good rest of your day.
Goodbye, everybody.